So
And
are we is second guest Leo or is it Bernadette? I don't remember who pops in first.
so we've kind of we've gone past Vincent for the most part, and
Yeah.
we're now past we're now in the advertising phase of Puppy Chow with Jim Cummings doing a voice. We've got Purina Moist and Chunky, more dog food, one after the other for some reason, in case you don't like the Jim Cummings doing your dog food advert. Mateus Wine, TWA Airline, Happy Birthday Aries again, a sudden happy birthday to Donald Duck. On TV subscription, Montgomery Ward Fashion, Kobe's shoes.
Now, I have a question.
Mhm.
You said Jim Cummings.
Mm.
I had thought that was the voice of Sterling Holloway.
So, well, here's the thing. I mean, Sterling Holloway, original Winnie the Pooh. Jim Cummings, modern day Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
I'm willing to be corrected. Now Jim Cummings is my.
I don't know when Sterling. I don't know when Sterling Holloway died. Look up.
Let's find out.
I mean, Cummings was born in 52, so he'd be 27 when this happened.
He always had an old voice.
But his years active on Wikipedia says 1984 was his first thing.
All right, I put my hands up. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
All right.
Now I am seeing 1977 Purina Puppy Chow with Sterling Holloway on YouTube.
All right.
There you go.
Now, recently, I don't even remember which podcast it was. I misidentified which Disney snake was voiced by Sterling Holloway.
Oh yeah, I was with you for that one.
Yeah, I figured you were. But it's a voice that I'm always keenly attuned to when I'm hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought that next ad, the Moist and Delicious dog food, that one was fascinating to me because I thought the behavior that it demonstrated by the characters in that commercial was appalling, because it literally was like one woman was looking after the other woman's dog, and she's like, "What did you do to my dog? He won't eat any dry dog food anymore." And the woman's like, "Yeah, he probably never will now. He'll only eat this." And I just thought, like, hey, ask before you do something like that with someone else's pet. I was really kind of like furious at how like confident the woman was. I just thought, oh, this like aggressively presumptuous character pushing the product on someone else's dog. No matter what the quality, there should have been a conversation.
Yeah, because she goes like, "Yeah, you're not going." He's not going to like that anymore. It's like, it's got new things.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't know what the budget of your friend is. How dare you?
Yeah, I bought the better stuff, and therefore I win. Yeah. Yeah. What's in the box? Yeah, it kind of escalates into that kind of.
Oh, what's in the box?
I think most adverts, if they're ever looking for an element of tension, should end with someone going, "What's in the box?" Purely on a kind of a nostalgic basis connection point of like whether it's like Puppy Chow or a car, but then but also like in terms of the recording as well, like there's very heavy indications that this recording was from Los Angeles. Health Fair Expo 79 that was in Los Angeles, and kind of references to Southern California and so forth. And KLCW, is that right? KLCW, is that
KCLW? I think it's KCLW.
Whichever appears vertically in Nightcrawler.
Oh, KCLW is Clearwater, Florida.
Okay.
KLCW is Lubbock, Texas.
Oh, I don't know where I'm going then.
Who knows then?
Somewhere in Los Angeles,
yeah.
Back in the day when they had Z television and whatnot. Right. So we come back. Vincent Price talks about death, which really brings the vibe down. It's like, oh, a lot of people enjoy death. Like, it's great that horror like makes everyone happy about death, and like everyone's like, all right. So Miss Piggy comes on and announces the engagement. And then, which seems like the one, as far as I'm aware, the one running kind of bit of narrative that, as we've said, like kind of is disjointed a little bit in the sense of like, no, it's not, no, and like all like, for the most part, everyone kind of runs with it, and kind of quite interestingly, Bernadette Peters is about to say congratulations, and then Kermit interrupts him and talks about something else. And then it goes into Floyd. Now I'm assuming that this isn't an Alicia Keys song.
No, this is a Billy Joel song.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that he has not crossed over across the pond to London, but Billy Joel, huge in America.
Mm-hmm.
He's sort of our nation's songwriter, right, Connor? Like the official songwriter of the U.S. is Billy Joel, I would say.
Yes, I say that is true.
Am I right in saying he's a denier of arson?
He's a denier of arson.
Of-
Oh, well,
of the-
yes. Well,
Yeah.
no, he's a denier of personal arson. He's not a denier of arson in
Right,
general because
okay.
he knows that stuff has
Right.
been burning for a while, but it was not him.
Yeah,
That's
I
basically-
yeah, and I think he's also an apologist because I think he'd say that we tried to fight it.
yeah.
Big fan
Yeah.
of the Silent Hill games. Like he's aware that the fire is there, but ultimately doesn't
Yes.
really choose to do anything about it.
No,
Yeah.
and I would argue maybe made it worse.
One of the
You know?
three people that lives in Centralia. Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's a very niche reference, but I'll run with it.
It's
But
worth it.
yeah, I'll run with it. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, now I'm completely. I'll put my hands up. I love the voice of Floyd.
Mhm.
Who
Yeah.
is that? Who is the voice of Floyd?
It's a guy named Jerry Nelson,
Right.
who was also the Count on Sesame Street. He's Robin the Frog. He's Uncle Deadly. He's
Wow.
yeah, he was sort of their utility guy. Like he could sing. He, a great actor, but just like he was like the man of a thousand voices on that show. He's, Dr. Strangepork, New Zealand, like so many different characters. He was sort of like if there was a character actor for the Muppeteer, I feel like it was Jerry Nelson because you could sort of just plop him in to play, any kind of myriad of different characters.
Was he kind of like the third following on from Jim and Frank Oz?
I would say,
Arguably?
yeah. I mean, if you had to rank by like amount of characters, known by the people, he would probably be 3. That's my guess.
Would he, if you were saying that Jim and Frank are John and Paul, would he be George?
Yeah, probably. Because a lot of people's favorite are George, and a lot of Jerry Nelson characters are my favorite characters. So that,
So
it
who,
tracks.
by that logic, who would be Ringo and who would be Yoko?
I'm not getting into this.
Patrick, you waded into this. You've already
can't
expressed
get
an
in-
opinion.
I can't get into this one. I'll say this. I was there. I interned at Sesame and was there the last time that Jerry Nelson performed on Sesame Street before he passed away, like on set.
Wow.
Mhm.
It was for a music video with Train, the band Train.
Train.
They sang "Hey Soul Sister." Oh,
That
wow.
has not reached
Wow.
the UK as far as I'm aware.
Wow. Well, maybe some.
Who's
you
that
know,
Mr. on the radio?
Yeah, playing low. I don't remember the words.
Staying
They were
slow.
singing.
Are they
playing
the Billy
slow, yeah.
Joel of our time?
No, they're sort of they're how there's like Mozart and Salieri, like Billy
Mhm.
Joel's Mozart and Train is Salieri. I would say that's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
just be aware. A train's a coming. It's gonna get there eventually.
Mm.
mhm,
Just you wait.
mhm.
It hasn't shown up yet. You just go to the train station and wait. They'll get there.
Well,
George, you may not get it, but your kids are gonna love it. Just give it a few years.
I'm just hoping that there's a crossover where Billy Joel will turn up in this same scenario and set the train on fire. And then it'll be, this train's
Yeah.
coming, it might be on fire. And if it is, Billy Joel is not going to deny or
I'm gonna say
confirm.
that George, you should listen to some Billy Joel because Billy Joel is fun, and I think you might like Billy Joel.
I'll be honest, my current earworm, and this is a
Yeah.
this is a long reaching apparently.
Mhm.
I listened. So I've been doing a bit of research recently, and I just thought I'd start getting into various new artists.
Look at this, Connor. It's your boy.
Ooh, very good.
I've been this. I thought I'd check him out. Now I know that it's on the but I've been listening.
We should say this is an audio medium. He is holding up a Elvis Costello record.
Yeah, that is a UK reissue of his debut album "My Aim Is True" from a few years ago.
Patrick will get a production credit on this episode. But yeah. And no, because I've decided the other one, the other music artist I'm currently investigating from scratch is Bruce Springsteen. I'm trying to basically investigate 4 different new music artists every month at the moment, and then buy their second album this following month. And
Yeah.
so
Well,
Yeah.
I would recommend putting Billy on that list.
Billy Joel, and
Yeah.
not are we not going to go for the Chevy Chase album that he went for?
Probably not, but it's up to you. I
Which-
mean, you
which
live your life, you know.
I mean, barely. But at this point, but I mean, you know, who doesn't want the high pitched version of Hey Jude?
I would argue America.
And he
America
was,
does not want the high pitched version of Hey Jude.
I'm pretty sure he also did I Shot the Sheriff as well, Chevy Chase.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of America's greatest singer songwriters, Chevy Chase. So
Yeah.
I get it.
So Bernadette Peters, so so she pops up and adorable, fantastic.
Yes.
Even I mean, she was predominantly Broadway throughout the 70s.
Mhm.
Wasn't a huge film career at that point. She
Because
was
when The Jerk is 79.
so they announce her saying she's about to go and record with about to go and film the
Yeah.
Jerk with Steve Martin, and they say that she's and funny enough, the following Monday, so this is Monday, this is filmed on a Monday. The following Monday is not only the night of the Oscars,
Hmm.
on another channel, it's the Perry Como Spring Special, and Bernadette Peters is on there as one of the guests.
Yeah, that is the thing that she's plugging on this show primarily.
Yeah, aired on the 9th of April 1979. And she pops up, and she you know, and the thing is that like she's totally game. Once again, she's another ringer, arguably.
Yeah.
She's another kind of moral support guest, someone who
Mhm.
knows the Muppets, has been with the Muppets, involved with the Muppets. There's no kind of like there's no kind of risk of because that's the thing I would say.
Going wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, because what we were saying before with Dr. Michael Fox is that he does go into a slightly adult territory, even if
Mhm.
it's kind of light-hearted and it's biological. It's as opposed to the rest, they're all like, you know, Leo Sayers saying, you know, Cockney rhyming slang and everything.
Yeah.
But then you've got, and I love the fact that Bernadette kind of makes it slightly meta by alluding to the fact that she had a Muppet birthday party.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it is funny. I mean, it's funny watching this episode to see which Muppet performers are good on their feet and which ones maybe caught you by surprise. Like I did not find Jim Henson to be on top of the improv aspect of just talking with people as much as I thought he would be. Like she said that and he was just like, "Oh wow, that's cool. Oh okay." And it was just like a lot of like agreeing and then moving on to the next thing, not really engaging in the conversation. That was how I found it while I was watching. I don't know if Connor or George agrees with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much as this episode is a lot of fun, but as we're analyzing it, it really is interesting how much I guess it's in some ways like watching like early Muppet things. This very much feels almost like a test episode for a thing that they then don't go on to pursue. Like I think there is a world in which the Muppets as like a talk show host doing interviews would be a thing they could have done. But when you're watching this one, it very much does feel like they didn't pursue that. They wanted to do other things. He wanted to build worlds. He was already, you're just a few years away from him wanting to move on from the Muppets as the main thing he's doing entirely. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that he would have had fun making a long-term commitment where the Muppets host a talk show, but it does more than anything. It reminds me of when like the Gethard Show like did a pilot for Comedy Central and then did like test shows before we went on Fusion. And there's a period where you're figuring out like what works and what doesn't. And it's really easy to imagine a meeting after this show where Jim Henson, Frank Oz, everyone will be coming together saying, okay, well, these are things we need to work on for future episodes. Like we want to make it so it's like this. We want how do we avoid this happening and this happening? And a lot of it does have to do with the fact that like figuring out why it's Kermit the Frog interviewing Vincent Price beyond just that they know each other from working together before.
Mhm.
And I can imagine a version of the Muppets hosting the Tonight Show. I can imagine a Muppet talk show where I think in order to make it work, you would have to explore the conversations going to a deeper place, and not just move past the politeness of oh, what are some other movies, or like what is it, like the sort of questions that feel like the pivots when you're a little bit out of steam, and almost like going to a place where it's more like those segments on Sesame Street where it's like Kermit just interacting with the child, where those are always very charming, and obviously those are probably culled from longer clips, but it feels like they never get to a point like with Bernadette where they're actually the conversation is getting dynamic. Like it's sort of like she likes Muppets like her, and similar with Vincent Price. That it's sort of like I would be interested to see what it would have been like if this had been something that where their passion lay for like using the Muppets for this. It also may just be like an exhausting format to be doing puppets.
Yeah, I can't imagine them doing a 5-night-a-week show like this. It's impossible. Like they would just get so burned out so fast because it's such.
It would have to be a weekly show. Would be the only like it would have to be a once a week show, and I think also, like there's a reason the Muppet Show wasn't done in front of a live studio audience.
Mm-hmm.
You can take breaks. Like you can film all the segments, then people get to lower their arms for a while.
Yeah.
A 90-minute show, that's a lot of stress position, even for people who are great at it.
It would be, I would imagine that if it was the Tonight Show with Kermit the Frog as a regular basis, Ed wouldn't be talking about, limousines. It'd be like, arm lube or whatever, just like something that's like just keeping people going in some shape or form. And as you say, like, with Vincent Price and with Bernadette Peters, there's a sense of like, we're here because we love you guys, but we don't have much to add to it. I do feel that there's a little moment where Scooter pops up with Leo Sayer, and it's like, do you remember London? And that's that's the first kind of direct connection, like, because the others are like, London, we've met before. I did quite like the little, I thought more of that could have been beneficial in terms of keeping the connect in that respect. But I think although having said that, I do think bringing out the big guns with the beautiful rendition of Just One Person.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's lovely, and really well choreographed. Robin sitting on the lap, and Scooter, Gonzo, Fozzie, Ralph, Floyd, Beauregard all kind of turn up in the background, joining in. And of course, I'm sure we all know where Just One Person comes from.
I actually don't know the origin of it. Do you, Connor?
I'm trying to think what's the earliest thing that I've.
Oh wait, yes, I think I do know what the origin of it is. I started to Google it and then I did not finish typing it, but I think I do know what it is. Go ahead, Connor.
I don't know.
Connor, I think Connor in particular will be very excited.
Yes, isn't it? You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
It's from Snoopy the Musical,
which Snoopy, I've been in. Yeah.
I knew it was some
like.
There's a Schultz connection. Yeah.
I've been in. I was in a production of that in Switzerland.
Wow.
What?
Okay, we need.
That's a story for another time.
All right. Okay, but I'd be very much also up for hearing it now if that was another time in about a minute from now. But I am very interested. Well, I suppose in that respect, if those beans are not yet to be spilt, as it were,
I get it.
I mean, I suppose that this will lead us on to our next part of Talk Show Tat. because I want to know how much is this going for? An original Broadway Snoopy script on eBay, currently available. So just to clarify, this was let's see if I can find my notes here regarding this particular thing. It was Snoopy the Musical Broadway script, for the listeners at home, 1977 Broadway rental play script. This is currently available for a buy it now price of how many dollars do you reckon?
$500.
Patrick for 500,
510.
Connor for 510. Are these your final answers?
What a bad bid. What an off. Oh no, wait. Close without going over. That's a good bid. You made a good bid.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. It could be a bad bid.
All right. The answer is Patrick is closer. It's $200.
What a
That's
bargain.
not that bad. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, Snoopy fans, get on it.
Yeah. I don't know when this will be released, but yes.
Yes,
Get
Snoopy
on
fans. Come on.
Come on, Snoopy fans, get on it.
Get
Yeah.
on it, Snoopy fans.
Yeah. There you go. That's that's the Snoopy musical Broadway script, which is where it originated from.
Wow.
And now of course, anyway, so from the Bernadette, I suppose we should move forward past Bernadette Peters, but there is a little mention. I don't know of any other time that Kermit has said the word sexy.
Yes, and he's like, "Do you find me sexy?" Which is a very weird question for him to ask. It's very strange. Even when I was watching it, like when I was watching it, I was just like, this is not something that they should or ever have explored, as far as I know.
The original pilot was called the Muppet Show Sex and Violence.
Sure, but it wasn't sexy and violence.
What's wrong with being sexy? Yeah,
Nothing.
No. Well, I mean, is it the did Kermit ever do an Austin Powers spoof? It's just that kind of logic for me. It's like Kermit.
Yeah, baby.
Do I make you horny,
No,
baby? No, I don't know.
Oh, no. I am searching now. There is an Austin Powers page on Muppet Wiki. Oh yes, there is a poster. The Muppets at the Movies 2002 calendar spoofed the second film called "The Swine Who Snagged Me." His name is? I will share the screen just so you guys can see.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. You have disabled screen sharing. I cannot.
Oh, I don't know how to undisable it. But
well,
send me a link and I will
put it in the chat.
All right. I'm very excited. Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Oh.
His name is Frogston Flowers, and Piggy's name is Publicity Dinewell. I'll say this: I've been watching a lot of Muppet stuff recently, and the Piggy fat jokes have aged very poorly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Piggy weight jokes, and it just it does not hold up great.
All right, so I'm saving the image.
Me out.
Yeah, this is I'll be honest, this is bleak. Wow. All right, I'm gonna share this. Also, I should point out, I take it you've seen the Letterman David Frog Letter Frog. I like the fact they went David Letter Frog. Yeah,
Yes.
With the gap teeth. Yeah. Which is slightly less offensive than when Chevy did it to promote his show, filling in the gap of late night, and it was the yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna. You have to pretend you can't see what you're about to see, but I'm just gonna skip it through. All right, hang on.
Okay.
Didn't see it. Ignore that.
Didn't see it.
Damn it. All right, where? Oh, hang on. Where the hell is it? All right, I'm just gonna reopen. Stop sharing. 1 second. See, this is the first time. Can you tell this is the first time I've recorded a show in some time? It's been a while. Yeah, I got stuck in the admin of things, running a network, and I just decided, I quit. Off the record, I quit my job. I'm going all in on podcasting.
Nice.
And I'm gonna be doing this more or less.
Be fun
for the future. So right, here we go. Right, share screen. There we go. Here we go.
So bizarre.
Actually, let me try and get a better. Let me get a better image of this, because it is so bad.
Mhm.
Actually, no. That's fine. I think we've all endured it.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we
yeah,
know what it looks like.
it's fine. I mean, anyone who isn't listening or watching won't know anyway, so it's fine. in that order, right? So, moving swiftly on. So yeah, very sweet performance, beautiful song. We go into more adverts. We've got Serta Perfect Sleeper, 7-Eleven with sandwiches involving a ham and cheese disco. The options in the 7-Eleven disco, by the way, do appear to be hot or cold,
Mhm.
which is bizarre. Plymouth Cars, General Telephone, Happy Birthday Aries pops up again. Ed mentions about limousines for some Tonight Show guests,
Yes.
Oh.
They're
which I
saying New Zealand did not get a limo to get to Burbank.
I
That's
get
my assumption.
I get the impression there was a note put forward by certain guests going, "No, I don't get a limo. I drive up. I walked in. Like, I'm
Yeah.
local."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Morgan Limousine Services. And if they're listening, yeah.
Hope you're
Robert,
doing well.
yeah. Cheers. There's a ad for a Robert Conrad series about a boxer who's now a private eye called the Duke.
Mm.
Uh, Los Angeles Times, Elizabeth Arden, Federal Express, and a nice little momentary clip. Be overweight, but look great. Bye.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it is interesting watching that video because they do cut out some commercials. Like you can tell that the tape cuts at some points. And it's just interesting that they left some of them in, but not all of them. And I wonder why.
I was wondering about that as well, because I'm pretty sure that after the uh just one person performance,
Hmm.
that you can hear someone out of character saying something as it overlaps
I
into.
did hear that too. Yeah.
I can't figure out what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it
I don't know.
it sounds like one of the puppet artists as opposed to Ed or someone saying
Sure.
something, and I can't figure out what it is. Um,
Yeah.
I what full disclosure, I will say that my occasional co-host Gary, um, we have mysteries like this to investigate.
Yeah.
We still don't know what happened to Ed McMahon's thumb in 1972, 73 even. Yeah, it's a mystery. There's an episode of the Talk Show where
Right.
which we recorded about 6 years ago, where he's like talking about how he slit his thumb wide open, and we don't know why. I
Mhm.
mean, we don't know if we'd
Probably
like
never will.
we'd like to think it's it's a Hank style incident during promoting an advert, like the best knives, you can cut your throat with it, and then just
Yeah.
like slices his thumb wide open or something. And then it just cuts to the next bit where we hear out of character Ed going "Ah!" like that, and it's just an advert about pillows.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that when we come back from the break, that you got Statler and Waldorf again.
Mhm.
Waldorf is asleep, or Statler's asleep. One of them's asleep.
Waldorf is asleep
Waldorf is asleep.
because I was trying to figure out how they were going to do this. Jim Henson is Waldorf, and he is also playing Kermit. It does not seem like they are taking a break in between that shot and the next shot of Kermit. So I imagine he is just snoring into his microphone while holding up Kermit.
Which does tell us something interesting just about the process, because it would have been easy enough, I think, to film those separate. Have Jim Henson go over during the break, Kermit leave, and him do the Waldorf bits. But presumably they were just like, let's just have you focus on being Kermit and
Yeah.
not worry about it, and have
And
Frank be the one doing all the running around.
it is interesting because you don't usually see Statler without Waldorf or Waldorf without Statler. And
Mhm.
it is funny when it's only Statler and he has to give all of the setups and the punchlines for every single joke instead of them usually like bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit meaner when it's just one guy.
Yeah. It also, in the same way that you were saying, like, I definitely agree that like weight related Miss Piggy jokes hold up maybe almost maybe worse than anything as far as
Yeah.
like the things that haven't aged well Muppet wise, for especially for something that is for something that is so consistently, it always comes up again and again. And it's interesting because it's complicated because she's also a glamour symbol and a superstar, and they never push back against that. So I can imagine, particularly like someone having a confused or complicated reaction because there is a lot of insult and there's a lot of body positivity that's all part of the same mix. And then also jokes that just have to do with like being an actual pig and that being an animal that is associated with so many food items, you know?
Sure.
Because frog legs are always a little bit of a, you know, it always feels like it's a fancy, like a delicacy. It's not like, whereas Miss Piggy, or like when Vincent Price makes the joke about bear steaks, was it right or something? We were like, well, that's
something like that.
Roast bear.
It's a reach. Roast bear, yeah, that's what it was. Roast bear. That it's like that. That's a bit of a reach, but Piggy is like one of the Muppets that is most often like eaten by the children who are viewing the show. But the other thing is how much Statler and Waldorf feel more and more relevant in a weird way, just in the idea that at the time, just the idea that you have these mean audience members making comments at a point where the only way you could really do that is if you are a heckler in a theater, deeply antisocial thing that gets sort of like lifted up to comedic heights because they're in a box. They're in like a royal box at the Muppet Show. They're always there. They hate the show and they never stop commenting. And the culture of now versus the culture of then, like they're trolls. They are YouTube commenters who are the first to comment, you know, on things they don't like, that they keep watching.
Sure.
And it's very interesting to watch Statler and Waldorf in a world where now like we just have more of a heightened awareness of, like, most people who would go to any live performance anywhere in 1979, a heckler would be a rarity. Whereas now, any video you watch online, if comments are enabled, there will be trolls.
That's fascinating, because the idea that that the Muppets arguably through Statler and Waldorf had their own audience control level of response, like kind of the sincerity of being self-conscious about their content, and it was translated through Statler and Waldorf. And the idea, I'd like to think that every time the Muppets do any social media post, that they should have also a separate Statler and Waldorf post.
I believe they do.
Really?
I don't know if they respond to everything. There is at Statler Waldorf, there is a Twitter account. It's mostly them just making jokes about the Muppets, but
because it's almost like they should set the precedent of this is how it should be done, as in this is as light-hearted and as cynical as it should be. There shouldn't be anything beyond that. And that's, you know, like if imagine everything that we've experienced in the last 40 years, you know, or you know, of kind of the evolution of trolling and cynicism, and imagine if it was just all Statler and Waldorf level.
Right.
It should be so much more simpler, I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel that I like the idea that they do have their account, and I'd like to think that every time they post something that they Statler and Waldorf react to, just have like, this is the level we're at, and that's where we should stay. That'd be such a nice thing. But yeah, and it's the idea of that's you know, if they are the original trolls, we should look up to them, not get worse.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna troll, at least be as good as Statler and Waldorf. That's
a t-shirt.
Hey. Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey
now. So Leo Sayer joins us.
Yeah.
Not literally, that'd be scary. He joins us to sing Can't Stop Loving You, which was covered by Phil Collins in 2002. Scooter turns up, which I do genuinely feel that whoever is voicing Scooter is like kind of literally turning up because they have some kind of connection with Leo Sayer from when Leo Sayer was.
Yeah.
And it was because he mentions an incident about damaging his leg, and I feel that Scooter is almost like, whoever is voicing Scooter at that point is almost like turning up apologetically, going, "Hey, you all right? Yeah, sorry about that."
Now, I read something because I was looking into Leo Sayer. I wanted to know what his deal was. He's 5'4". Okay. very,
Mhm.
small
Okay.
guy. Damaged his ankle and his leg when he fell off a stage in 1977. And dealt with that for a very long time. He's also dyslexic.
Did he
Those are all-
Kelsey Grammer it? Did he go, oh dear
That's the
God?
vibe that I get. My gut says he fully fell off the stage. Except Kelsey seems to have no lasting repercussions for anything that he's done. Whereas Leo dealt with that for a long time. Can I break in with some breaking news related to the podcast or related to the thing that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Please.
Deadline broke at 2:19 p.m. EST. Jim Henson biopic. Michael Mitnick writing Muppet Man for Disney and the Jim Henson Company. It's a man who wrote for Vinyl, Martin Scorsese's Vinyl TV show.
Is Martin Scorsese directing the Jim Henson biopic?
I don't think so.
Because that could be.
Yeah.
As far back as I remember, I always wanted to be a puppeteer, and then it
Yep,
kicks in.
There you go.
Now, is this the script?
I don't think it is the script that had been going around.
Because I was in a staged reading at Videology years ago of the Muppet Man script that was like on that list that was going around.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
I didn't either. It was a real bummer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry to sidetrack us more than we are already sidetracked.
No, I'm more than happy. I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
So who would you say would be best cast as Jim Henson?
Oh, I don't know. That's so tough. Connor, do you have anybody?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
But doing his voice from Gangs of New York?
Doing the Kermit voice, which is you just modulate a little and you got Jim Henson.
He got expelled from
a younger Daniel Day-Lewis. Genuinely, I think he'd throw himself into. I think he's probably too old to do it now.
Yeah.
But at a younger age, he would have been a great choice because I think he would have grown the beard out. I think he would have learned everything about how to puppeteer, and I think it would have been perfect. I'm trying to think who would be that person now.
I'm Jim Henson. This is my partner, Kermit the Frog.
I'm a felt man.
I mean, it's such a tough thing for this. No, go ahead.
No, it's not worth.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's such a hard thing because, like, normally a biopic, you like learn how the person talked, and that's pretty much all you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, you just take on some mannerisms. But with this, it's like, well, you also need to do the character voices, and you also need to be able to puppeteer, and you also need, like, there's so many additional steps to doing it.
I drink your milkshake.
I also think here was the problem with a biopic.
Yeah,
is different than a biography. Like Brian J. Jones' biography of Jim Henson is great. He's a great writer, and he makes really great biographies of people that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different than making a biopic film.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I remember about that Muppet Man script that has been floating around for years is that it was just kind of a bummer because it was just sort of like, guess what? Doing his career sort of took a toll on his marriage.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really fun to watch. And then the whimsical touches that you want to add to make it feel Muppety, it made it feel like kind of a bummer. And I saw Mank. And I've been thinking about Mank. And here's what I think about Mank. And I'm not the first person. I know a lot of people had made the comparison between Mank and Tim Burton's Ed Wood movie. Mostly comparing it unfavorably, saying that Ed Wood is just more fun to watch as a movie. And part of the reason for that is that I'd rather watch Ed Wood starring Johnny Depp, made by Tim Burton, than watch any Ed Wood movie. Because it's more fun to see like what they came up with. They were able to make something that was more fun than the filmography of Ed Wood. When you're making a movie about the making of Citizen Kane, you're in real trouble because Citizen Kane is already a real fun movie to watch. It's a great movie, and it's like and so even if you make a pretty good movie about the making of Citizen Kane, it's already so far short of what it's about. And I think if you're going to make a movie about the guy who made the Muppets, the odds of it being anywhere near as good as watching any Muppet thing that Jim Henson did are just pretty long odds. Like, I would rather see a movie about like the making of the Electric Company TV show for PBS. Like, just like you could dramatize that. You have this educational kids show that had these weird Spider-Man scenes, and like Bill Cosby and Morgan Freeman were on it. It was like I don't know anything about that show, and I'd be more curious about that than seeing all the familiar beats of what Jim Henson. Like, I'm trying to think of something else that would be like even like I like the Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks. I like that movie, but that movie was mostly using him in a different way. Like, maybe there's a way to do a Jim Henson movie where it's like that, where it's really a movie about someone else. That was really a movie about the journalist who was profiling Mr. Rogers and the way it affected like his life. Maybe there's like some sideways approach into Jim Henson. But if it's just a biopic that's like the true story of the man who made the Muppets.
Yeah, I mean, the way to do it, I feel like, is to just do it about one of the other puppeteers, and then he becomes the side character. You do it about Richard Hunt or somebody.
Do you feel that, I mean, when Mr. Rogers, the Mr. Rogers Tom Hanks film came out, it wasn't too far away from the documentary Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah.
Do you feel that maybe that rather than having, I mean, from the sounds of things, like it seems unnecessary to have a Muppet, a Jim Henson biopic about focusing on his marriage. Do you feel that it'd be more beneficial to have a Won't You Be My Neighbor style documentary on lieu of that?
I think it's so strange that there is not a prestige documentary about him. There is the one that's coming out about Sesame Street in a few months, but I think it's very bizarre that there is not there's no modern.
There should be a series like the Michael Jordan series, like something like that for Henson would be great, because one documentary is not going to cover enough of it. I mean, when I try to think about it, the first thing that pops into mind is doing a Truman Show-esque biography of Kermit the Frog, where he realizes that he's a Muppet. That doesn't really scratch the same itch as
Ken Burns the Muppets.
Hey, I'll take it. Yeah.
Like a 10-part Ken Burns series about the evolution of the Muppets. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Him like with the voice of Frank Oz in character reading letters from Jim. That'd be great. I'd watch that. That'd be great.
So anyway, Leo Sayer sings the song with Miss Piggy.
Oh yeah, that happens. So there's this thing. So Leo Sayer turns up and he talks about Cockney rhyming slang. And there's a little joke that I like, that the fact that they're filming in Los Angeles and they talk about the food that they have over here in comparison to London, which is tacos and enchiladas, is what they have in Los Angeles. That's the local food in comparison to jellied eels and mash.
Yes.
Which completely gets, like, no one, like, Scooter says it and like it just gets completely passed over, but I appreciated that, especially since as someone who desperately wants to have a Taco Bell. I had a Taco Bell once about 7 months ago, and I have a guilty pleasure, and restaurants are now just opening over here, and I'm going up to London next weekend specifically to get one as a guilty pleasure.
Amazing.
Jelly and mash are much harder to find now, ironically. But then we go to an ad break again. Gia Bazzi, never heard of it. JC Penney, Thermoserve, Salad Bar, Cobby Cuddlers, Happy Birthday Aries again, which brings us into our final guest, Dr. Michael Fox. The rookie, arguably, of the night. He has this natural rapport. He hasn't been on the Muppet Show before. He's going off script.
Yeah.
And I think he's fun. I think he does have that. Sometimes you get surprised when a guest is the best, and sometimes it's the person who's not necessarily a performer. And I don't know, maybe this guy was like a talk show mainstay. I don't know. Like, maybe he had other TV experience, but he seemed the most at ease and without trying to make like major jokes and like trying to hit the beats of the things that he wanted to talk about. It seemed like he was just there for the ride.
Yeah. I think that, it's fun. It's funny. It's also the rare moment of like it feels like the most adult segment by
Mhm.
far in the whole. He places an aphrodisiac down that Miss Piggy starts having a real physical reaction to. In the things that have aged poorly, I would say there's the part where he mentions that sometimes a male frog will jump on top of a another male frog by mistake to mate with them, and Miss Piggy's reaction is so
Yeah.
audibly horrified. That which to me seems surprising because I would have even thought at that time that Miss Piggy as a performer would have a passionate and devoted gay following. Like if you look at any of Miss Piggy in performance mode, she's very much in the spirit of the great divas of that age, you know.
Yeah.
And it contradicts what she says after shortly after, where she's like, where they talk about strange things happening. She's like, "Oh, that's what I was hoping for." Like she's up for the kinky stuff, you know. So it kind of contradicts the her open-mindedness, you know, in many respects. Yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
her massive heave of like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's but it does go a long way. I noticed that the audience are far more reactive to Dr. Fox.
Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, sometimes I feel like it catches people off guard when, when I was booking ASCAT at UCB, and like sometimes the people that were the best were the people that the audience did not know who they were, or like we're not expecting something from them, and it's like, oh, you're fun. We don't know who you are. This is great. This is fun, and I feel like that is sometimes how you get the audience to
Yeah,
go for
people.
it a little bit more.
It's the difference between the applause you get when you enter versus the applause you get when you leave.
Mhm.
That there are oftentimes you get someone that the audience thinks, "Oh, I'm so excited to see this person because I know their work." And then they are unimpressive, and then other people
Yeah.
come in and like, "Oh, who's this?" And then they're great. And this guy definitely is in that category. He. If I was going to skip a segment in the show, this would be the this would be the one that I'd be like, yeah, I don't need to see this guy. I want to see the ones I know. And it's just his instincts are better, his timing. It just like it also feels like the show's they're learning from they're learning from each interview in the course of the show, that by the time they may also just the Muppet performers themselves may be more in a rhythm of how to interact with people, like he may also be benefiting from Jim and Frank and everybody having an hour and an hour's worth of practice at this.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he has this big legacy now as well. Like he seems like one of those guys who was entrepreneurial. I believe he probably almost certainly popped up on various shows, and he had a bit of a rapport. And this was like a perfect open invitation to engage with, with not just his audience, but also like an interpretation of the audience that he could back up with facts and make a joke of it, which I think worked in his favor. I could almost picture that there being a biopic of him, like Michael Keaton in the McDonald's one, like a kind of that kind of style.
I think I maybe found his website.
Oh, really?
drfox1health.com.
I believe that is the one.
Wow. I would never have assumed this guy was still around.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's I mean I was I did a bit of research, and I noticed that he has released a ton of books and also albums, which leads us on
yes
yep to I'm just going to open it up which leads us on to our penultimate guessing. But now, if I'm not mistaken, it's 3-1, is that right? Or 2-1? 3-1?
I don't know.
3-1.
I think it's
I only had the good feeling once.
Okay, so it's 3-1. Now I'm just going to share this. Now this is an album released by the good Dr. Michael Fox. And here we go. Now this was released. This is the back of it as well.
Once you hear dog talk, you'll understand your dog's world.
Wow.
Bold promise in the same font, I believe, as the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds, or something very close to it.
It's very close. Yeah.
And
That's very funny.
There's a reference to the Johnny Carson Tonight Show in the small print there as well.
Oh wow.
And the Mike Douglas Show and the Today Show. And if I'm not mistaken, the Do You Understand Your Dog? So for those listening, this is an album. This is the back of an album of an album released by Dr. Michael Fox about understanding a dog. It has some lovely, funky 70s illustration on the front, and on the back you have on side 2 in particular personality problems: the over-attached dog, the neurotic dog, the canine delinquent, the wild dog, the unhousebroken dog, the jealous dog, the sex maniac, the barker, the car chaser, and bringing us back round to the Muppets, the Grouch, and the Super Dog. How much do you reckon this is going for on the common market?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say $50.
$50.
I said $6.
Oh, so we've got quite a wide. Does anyone want to make any redecisions here? Just before, is this your final answer? So
yeah, I'll say $40.
Okay. Connor's going for $40. Patrick's going for $6. The amount
for that 4-to-1, baby.
All right, it is the buy it now price, $14.95.
That sounds closer to mine in a way. I know it's further away in numbers, but I said 40 and it's 14, and those sound a lot closer.
Connor, it's almost like you don't want this Chevy Chase clock. I don't know what's like why. I mean, I can send batteries as well. I mean, you know.
Well, now I don't have I don't have a chance now unless the last question is weighted in some way.
You can, George. You know what? I'm gonna call an audible here. I know this is not my show. If you want to weight the last question much heavier, I will allow you to do it.
I have to have a think about this one.
Think about it.
Well, I tell you what I could always do. I could give Patrick, if we're assuming that you've won the clock, I could do as the follow-up prize for the second person in second place, the batteries for the clock.
Sure, deal.
And that way everyone wins
Deal.
and doesn't win at the same time.
Done deal.
Yeah.
Wait, so the second prize person gets the batteries?
They get the batteries of the clock that would be for the first prize. So that way they kind of actually have have the power.
And Patrick, and whoever wins, if Patrick wins the first prize, he can't put any other batteries other than those that you give the second prize winner.
By law.
Power the clock. All right.
The clock will still be right twice a day, or
by that's more often than the Chevy Chase show was right.
Yeah, this is the guarantee. This clock will last longer than the Chevy Chase show,
Wow.
even without batteries.
Yeah,
that's the insane thing. So what have I got left on my notes? Genetic counseling, frog sex, hypnotizing frogs, a missed opportunity. Dr. Michael Fox, and I feel that if Michael had reacted properly, the audience would have got it as well, or reacted with him, where he hypnotizes Camilla. Camilla points us out, actually, Gonzo's been hypnotized. I feel that joke could have landed much better. That was a good joke, and I just feel I feel it was in the reaction that it was a missed opportunity for that one. I love then it goes to Ed McMahon advertising Polavision from Polaroid, and he's like, professional or not, do it. If you want to do it, do what you want with it.
I mean, Ed did not have a ton to do during this episode, so it was nice to also see him in a commercial, you know?
Yeah. Arguably the evolution of Hank's sex tape.
Yes.
Where that comes from. Pillsbury crescent rolls for hot dogs, cheese and wiener crescents look surprisingly tasty. Mercedes-Benz station wagon, Miss Clairol hair color, happy birthday Aries again. And then we get the gorgeous Being Green by Jerry Pozo, Kermit doing on the oversized stool. Lovely track. So now that kind of framing everything in theory, and now that I know that this kind of wasn't your first exposure to the Muppets.
No.
Nor yours.
Might be my last exposure to material from the original Muppets era. Like, there's very little that I've seen since then that was new to me from the Henson era. There's still a few things probably. I like to discover things.
Challenge accepted. I'll see what I can do. I've got a few Muppet maniacs who might have some interesting bits and bobs to investigate. Also, side note, went to drama school with the guy who plays the kid in Muppet Treasure Island. He's a nice guy.
Kevin Bishop.
Kevin Bishop, very nice man. Very nice man.
I just saw him on a. They just did like a reunion thing, and he was on talking about it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Funny enough, I'm so behind. I have so many blind spots. I watched Clue for the first time the other day with the Tim Curry link.
It was good.
So yeah, and very much enjoyed it. It was the one where it was all the endings though, so it was kind of like
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel strongly that they should. The two of the endings should just be bonus scenes on a Blu-ray, and I wish there was a cut that would just show the ending where it's everybody, because I feel like that's the true ending to the film. And when I saw it in the theater, like, I love the device of you didn't know which ending you were getting when you went to the theater, and each theater just got sent different prints. But the theater I went to was one of the lame endings, and I was thrilled later on to see, like, oh, there was like one ending that's like better than the others. And it always bums me out how kind of tacked on they feel when you see it that way, where it's like,
it would be fun
like this.
If they just made a Blu-ray where you didn't know which one you were gonna see.
Yeah, that'd be fun too. But I just don't like the thing of like, or it could be this, because it feels like a video effect. It doesn't feel like you're watching. I feel like it undermines the movie.
Sure.
Here's a thought. What if? And I'm not saying that they should, but what if Netflix released not a redo, but like an emerged modern version written by Charlie Brooker. Choose your own choices.
Yeah, they Bandersnatch it.
That sounds fun.
Of doing that of Clue.
Yeah,
lots of different I think that'd be good.
We need more Bandersnatch in this world.
Yeah. Apparently there's stuff that still hasn't been found on that. I've heard.
That's crazy.
Like, you'd have to like break the code down to find one or two little things that are very hard.
I'll say this, to me, none of it has been seen because I have not watched it.
The best thing about it, there's no way of spoiling it because there's so many options.
Yeah.
Let's get some fan art of Patrick Cotnoir, the bander who snatched me.
Yeah, please send this in. I'll put up the ats. I'll put up the Twitter ats at the end. Has this become an unofficial George Lucas talk show episode?
Oh my god, we're so close.
We're getting so close. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's less pressure because you're running this, so there's no. I don't feel the same level of obligation. You know what I mean? We're just passengers on this ship.
You're always welcome to come onto this ship because this has been an absolute pleasure, and I hope this hasn't been. I know that obviously doing a weekly show is a big involvement, a big thing to do on a consistent level. But I really, really appreciate you guys coming on board, and I've had a fantastic time.
I'm delighted to be here.
And I sincerely hope you might be up for coming on board also for the Orson Welles episode. And we're going to be looking into Letterman, we're going to be looking into Conan, we're going to be going all sorts. So the door is always open on a number of levels. So to round up, the last ad break, which leads us into Orson Welles, incidentally, Paul Masson, the sober edit, also, and he's comes off very well. This is in between. He's sandwiched in between the likes of who is he sandwiched in between here? There's quite a few folks actually. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he pops in, but nevertheless, he's in the midst of Soave, Boala wine and Matthias wine. There's a lot of wines being advertised in this show, but Orson Welles really is the guy who nails it down. But yeah, I suppose that is another story for another day. let's end this on one last. Let's find out who has won. I mean, I guess maybe 5 would have made more sense because that way I could have like done 2 and 3 and 3 and 2. But this one, I feel that even if Connor doesn't get it, I feel that you might have this already anyway.
I think I saw a little sneak peek of what this was, and I don't think I have it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think I have something that's connected to it.
Okay. I'll bring it up now. There we go. Let's see.
Patrick, you want to make this all or nothing?
Ooh. Yeah, I want to make this all or nothing. So
All or nothing.
Yeah, all or nothing.
Okay. So this erases everything that preceded. This is the one.
Now, I believe I have a Fozzie Bear ornament that might be from this same series. And the only reason I say this is because that looks so heavy. And the Fozzie the Bear ornament is so heavy that I always have to just sort of hang it on my tree in the most sort of stable. It drags down any branch you hang it on. It's like a coffee mug. It's like a coffee mug filled with another coffee mug. Yeah, I wonder if
gonna
that's
say $45.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say $50.
Are these your final answers?
No, I'm gonna say $35.
Connor, you've won.
Oh, what?
It's $34.95.
Oh,
Yes,
$34.95.
all or nothing. Oh,
No.
I want that Chevy Chase clock so badly.
Well, you know, the thing is that
I love that you did a real Chris Tarrant move there. I used to watch in the early days of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when I lived in England. He was such a shit about like
that's me.
People don't realize
you're just gonna take that, George? You're just gonna take that? He's calling you a little shit.
He knows exactly what move he did there. He did not hesitate. He did not hesitate to declare me the winner when I switched my answer to the complete opposite end of it.
Is that your final answer? Yeah.
He would always torture people mercilessly when they had the answer right. He'd say, "Are you sure? Is that your final answer?" And the second they gave the wrong answer, he would just be like, "There we go." And it was so bad.
Well, I feel like I've already tortured you because you've been here for over 3 hours now. So I figured it, me doing my, is that your final answer?
Here's what I think, though. I think you should send everything to Patrick. And then I will walk to Patrick's house.
Yeah.
And we will divvy up these spoils.
Yeah.
Because despite the fact that I won unequivocally, I won in this all or nothing showdown. I do feel the clock belongs at Patrick's house. And I think Patrick knows that too.
Well, talk about a little twist, but I may have included in the budget for this show the opportunity to buy the 6th and final ornament. So if you'll be able to divvy the spoils in total together, including the Kermit ornament.
Wow.
Assuming it survives the transit.
And assuming that any tree could survive the ornament.
Yeah, that goes on the top, I think. It has to be stuck. Yeah. And I love the fact it comes still with the box.
Good.
That's a definite vibe. But for the show, for the listeners, I'm going to say thank you very much. And thank you very, 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 very much for Patrick and Connor joining us on this episode of the Talk Show. And I hope you join us again. And variants of plugs will follow in the post recording. But you have been listening to the Talk Show. Thank you very much for joining us. And guys, thank you for coming.
Thanks you for having us.
Once again, a massive thank you to our guests, Patrick and Connor, for joining me on this episode of the Talk Show. Further information regarding Rat Scraps, the George Lucas Talk Show, Deadeyes, and other social media links can now be seen on the screen. The Talk Show podcast is part of the Podnose Network. Music by Ian Cummins, sound engineering by Ocho, and produced and edited by George Grimwood. To view this episode again and watch videos and to listen to all of our shows on the Podnose Premium Network, you can subscribe for a monthly single tier level of £5 a month via patreon.com/podnose, or if you subscribe through Twitch via twitch.tv/Grimwood, we'll be exclusively premiering further video podcasts for one time only before moving those episodes over to Patreon. There's also a ton of free shows available to listen to via www.podnose.com. You've been watching the Talk Show. I've been your host, George Grimwood, and we'll see you again for another episode, available exclusively on Twitch and Patreon. Bye for now.